INEC's continuous voter registration is still on. Use the opportunity to register to vote. On the news this evening, court activities paralyzed as hearing in police suit against Free Nnamdi Kanu, now protesters, stalled. Activist Lenu says issues of police brutality still persist for NSARS. He urges Governor Fubara to run inclusive government. NMA calls for urgent review of doctor salaries in Rivers State. On the foreign scene, U.S. steps up diplomacy after Gaza truce shaking. I'm Sam Chinedu, and the news continues after the break. Welcome back. Hearing in the police suit against Omoyele Sowore and other conveners of Free Nnamdi Kanu Now protest suffered a setback as court activities at the Federal High Court in Abuja came to a halt. Although very few court workers, lawyers, litigants, and private guards of the court were seen in the premises, no judge was cited. There were heavy security deployments with water cannons in and around the intersection between Ghana Street and Shehu Shagari Way, the popular Nitel Junction at Wuse 2, Federal Secretariat Environs, National Assembly Junction to Asokoro District, leading into the Presidential Villa. Justice Mohammed Umar had on Friday fixed today for the respondents in the ex parte motion filed by the police and on behalf of the government to show cause while the interim order made by the court should be vacated. And outside the courtroom, security operatives fired tear gas at protesters demanding the release of leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, in Abuja this morning. Activist Omoyele Sowore led the march despite a court order and police warning. Protesters chanted, "Free Nnamdi Kanu now. It's our constitutional protest and don't tear gas us." Police shots eventually dispersed them. Eyewitnesses confirmed this, saying security operatives fired shots in the air and released tear gas. The demonstrators later regrouped, chanting "Free Nnamdi Kanu" and "Tear gas cannot stop us." The protest did not end without consequences. The lawyer to the IPOB leader, Aloy Ejimako, along with Fineboy Kanu, a relative of the IPOB leader, and several others, were arrested by officers of the Federal Capital Territory Police Command during today's protest. Reacting to the development, the special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, has called on legal regulatory bodies in Nigeria to sanction Aloy Ejimako for participating in the ongoing #Free Nnamdi Kanu protest in Abuja. Onanuga made the call in a post on his X handle. He said Ejimako's participation in the protest undermines legal ethics given that Kanu's case is still before a competent court. But human rights activist Omoyele Sowore is demanding the immediate release of Aloy Ejimako. In a statement on X, Sowore said he will mobilize his team to occupy FCT Police Command if the lawyer is not released. Earlier, speaking on Channels Television, activist Omoyele Sowore The convener of the protest said soldiers and civil defense officers attacked the peaceful march, beating several protesters. He described the incident as an unprovoked attack, insisting that peaceful protest is a constitutional right. He explained that although the law does not require police permission for protest, his team had officially informed the authorities beforehand. He also recalled that the Court of Appeal had discharged and acquitted Nnamdi Kanu, yet the government refused to release him, calling it a violation of the judicial process.
The court process started from the Federal High Court as well. It went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal determined that Nnamdi Kanu did not commit any offense, discharged and acquitted him in 2022. This is public knowledge. How come nobody respects that court order? Was he ever released for one day, even after the Court of Appeal took that decision? This case went to the Supreme Court, determined that he did not violate his bail condition. Was his bail ever reinstated because of that? Never. So you cannot tell me about court process, because I know that these court processes have been violated repeatedly.
Explaining the timing, Shore said the protest was intentionally held on NSAS Memorial Day, as both movements share a common demand for justice. Meanwhile, transport fares have significantly increased along the Inyanya-Maraba axis as the ongoing protest for the release of Nnamdi Kanu caused a major traffic gridlock on Monday. Commercial drivers who usually charge 500 to 700 naira from Inyanya to the city center now demand as much as 1,200 naira, while Okada riders are charging up to 2,000 naira for the same route. The standstill left many residents stranded as they struggled to get to work, with several abandoning vehicles to trek long distances. Speaking to correspondent Uguna Chinatu, some commuters said the situation has affected their businesses and daily activities, accusing the government of making life difficult for ordinary citizens by allowing the road to be blocked.
And one now we just keep pressing for traffic, and this is after these nonsense buses were collecting 1-2 instead of the usual 800 naira. People come out traffic finish, you still have to walk a long distance just to get to work.
Wow, I don't dey road 2 hours just dey crawl, drop from motor now enter Okada they say to AY from Nyanya na 2,000 to even reach the AY sef no road. As it be like this now to go back house, even to go back house now Okada dey come that money, so na leg we dey use the march they go back house. This kind of wahala this morning, person won't find daily bread, but even the bread see now money for paracetamol I dey find now where you go take after this whole trekking.
Nah, no be small thing this morning. No, everywhere block. We be one follow Caro block. We now turn to Nyanya block. Everywhere block. As we even read the Kubo, no place we dey check. As I dey so now going back a day.
In Anambra State, schools, markets, and public offices across the state were shut down today in solidarity with today's protest in Abuja. Some parents and guardians revealed that they received a notice late yesterday to the effect, while some markets and business premises visited showed voluntary compliance with the demands of the protest. Wazobia FM in Onitsha can confirm that there is no order from IPOB as usual for the sit-at-home, although Mondays across the region have always witnessed skeletal operations due to the perennial sit-at-home initiated as a way of demanding the release of Kanu. And still on the demand for Nnamdi Kanu's release, a lawyer and politician, Kenneth Okonkwo, is urging the federal government to adopt a political solution to the case, saying Kanu's continued detention for 7 years is unjust. Coincidentally, today also marks the 5th anniversary of the NSAS protest. Former spokesperson of the Rivers Civil Society Organization, Solomon Lenu, says the very issues that prompted the demonstrations are still relevant today. Speaking in an interview, Mr. Leno questioned if the protests made an impact, as he insisted that cases of brutality by security agencies appear to have worsened rather than improved.
Up to this day, the very essence for which the NSAS protest was predicated upon is still living with us. The only achievement that we made from that standoff was the fact that we made a complaint and the government heard. But whether they listen, it's another question, because the brutality by security agencies then that we are still seeing today wouldn't be. All the officers who were part of that rogue agency are still wearing different uniforms, bearing arms on the streets.
Leno said that the government, rather than focusing on the welfare of its citizens, have continued to subject them to pain and suffering.
Making sure that there is cohesion, making sure that there is peace, making sure that the people are pacified should be the topmost priority in any policy that government should make at this point. Look at all the things that should make life easy, which ordinarily was the main crux of the issue that necessitated the NSAS. But up to this day, education is not working, medical care system is failing. The current administration came up with so many obnoxious policies that has fostered pains on the people of Nigeria.
And back here in River State, some commercial vehicle drivers in River State have protested against what they describe as extortion and harassment by motorpark touts, popularly known as area boys. The protest, which took place at the Artillery bus stop along Aba Road in Port Harcourt last week, Wednesday, and again today, Monday, was led by the chairman of the Drivers Welfare Club of Nigeria, River State chapter, Chris Ezali. Mr. Ezali said the drivers are protesting the forceful collection of illegal fees by the area boys at almost every bus stop in the state. He explained that these payments come in addition to the official fees already collected by state and local government authorities, making it hard for drivers to make returns to vehicle owners.
The exploitation is becoming too much because the levies they are collecting is not justifiable. How can some group of people come out and say they are collecting community money, police money, tax force money on a government public road, not even a park? Who are they remitting the money to? Which fund? Is it local government? Is it Board of Internal Revenue? And you are bullying and brutalizing driver or steering. If you give at Eleme Junction, you give at Rumukrushi, you give at Sasolare, you give at Market Junction, you give at Rumola. This is how you keep on sharing money. At the end of the day, you go home with nothing.
Ezali called on the government and security agencies to urgently step in and stop the illegal activities.
We want the government to sanitize the road and chase all the old arboros on the road, like LSOT did. We want a free-flow movement on commercial drivers in River State. Let River State government, Eleme Junction. If you come Eleme Junction in the morning, we see more than 7-8 boys. They will start collecting unnecessary levies.
Also in Rivers, security agencies are stepping up operations against oil theft. Troops of the 6th Division Nigerian Army say they've arrested several suspects and seized thousands of liters of stolen fuel in Okrika, Emohua, and Abuadual areas. According to a statement signed by Acting Deputy Director, 6th Division Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Danjuma, the operations took place between October 6 and 19. In Okrika, soldiers caught 2 wooden boats loading fuel from a vessel to a jetty. 2 more boats, one carrying over 33,000 liters and another one with 5,000 liters of stolen fuel, were also seized. At Elele Alimini in Amohua, troops stopped a tanker believed to be carrying about 90,000 liters of stolen fuel. The driver and his assistant were arrested. In Abu Odwal, over 2,600 liters of illegally refined diesel were recovered. The army says these operations are part of ongoing efforts to stop oil theft and protect the country's economy. We'll take a quick break. When we return, INC urges Governor Fubara to run inclusive government. Stay tuned.
Strict compliance to
The president of the Jaw National Congress, INC, Professor Benjamin Okaba, has urged Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara to run an inclusive government despite political tensions in the state. Professor Okaba gave the advice in an interview with correspondent Soibi Ruwari while speaking on the governor's reinstatement 1 month after President Bola Tinubu lifted the state of emergency in Rivers State.
He alone knows why he's back. He alone knows how he came back. He also the only person who understands the conditions under which he was brought back. I don't want to tell him do this or do that and do that. Let him just focus on God's leading. He should try and work together with everybody. He should try to mend fences where necessary. He should not listen to anybody who says go and fight anybody. Run a system that will work for everybody.
Professor Okaba also appealed to political actors to respect the office of the governor and allow him to exercise his authority without undue interference.
So much pressures, but again, he should dignify himself. For instance, the issue of chief of staff. The chief of staff is the engine of government. It's somebody that is trusted. The chief of staff, it should be a trustworthy person, and that person can only be chosen by the governor himself. The president did the same thing. Even for those trying to enforce they should also know that the man must be given a breathing space to be a governor, to govern the state.
This sector, some stakeholders in the oil and gas sector have expressed concern over the continued shutdown of the Port Harcourt refinery, which has remained non-operational for the past 6 months. The Nupeng representative in the Port Harcourt Refinery Company, Uche Udunwa, said he is unsure when the facility will resume operations. Udunwa also noted that the informal sector around the refinery has been badly affected by the prolonged shutdown.
We have a very large number of persons or workers being affected. It's really affecting workers. So the fact that that place is not working is really, really affecting people. Talking about informal sector where the area that is called the depot, or where these products are supposed to be evacuated from. And you have more than thousands of persons who feed from there, really affecting workers seriously.
On his part, the Port Harcourt Zonal Chairman of Pengasan, George Wonko, claimed that the management cited poor profit margins as a reason for keeping the refinery closed.
Owing to the fact that it was not making profit. Port Harcourt refinery designed in a way that the old one fits into the new one. And they went ahead to rehabilitate the old one, and the new one is still down. So the process of proper refining is not completed. So the new GMD, even the day we visited him in Abuja, mentioned it that they look at the cost of bringing in crude and what they are refining. It is not commensurate. Amount of money injected into refining a product should at least be commensurate to what is coming out.
Mr. Woko repeated the union's call for the federal government to adopt the NLNG management model to revive the refinery and make it more efficient. But the Eastern Zonal Secretary of IPMAN, Inimba Emmanuel, said information available to him suggests the refinery may become operational before the end of the year, as repair work is already at an advanced stage.
What we're seeing is NNPC, Port Harcourt Refinery, being on project pace, tax and target. The pressure is on the refinery to make sure they come up optimally and on full steam. Between now and the end of the year, we should be able to see things. It was best knowledge that working on as in the ROC to make sure that the cracking unit of the PM for PMS comes up. And once that is done, I'm sure the people will see for themselves.
Meanwhile, in the health sector, Chairman of NMA in Rivers State, Dr. Diamond Tamano Kuro, says there's an urgent need to review the salaries of doctors in the state. Dr. Tamano Kuro said this during a media briefing to mark its Physicians Week. He expressed concern over the increasing number of medical practitioners seeking to leave the country, adding that there's a need to improve the work environment for doctors by ensuring security, better living conditions, and a review of the current salary structure.
Our dear state is one of the worst hit by the brain drain. Private and public doctors are living and waiting to leave. There is therefore an urgent need to create innovative, better remuneration, good work environment, better living conditions, and a secure environment. To review the salary scheme of doctors in the state. Now is the time to include overwork allowances, training benefits, and other incentives to keep our vital health workforce.
Dr. Tamano Kuro also demanded for more effort in strengthening the state's health insurance scheme.
More work is needed in the area of health insurance for river citizens. The health of river citizens will not improve until all the citizens of the state are mandatorily enrolled in a comprehensive health insurance scheme. No one, and I repeat, no one can adequately prepare for illness. We urge the government to upscale the River State Contributory Health Insurance Protection Program to a more comprehensive package, both in the formal and informal sectors.
The state NMA chairman commended Governor Siminalayi Fubara for the swift resumption of previously abandoned health projects, the approval of payments owed to health workers, and the reinstatement of the Commissioner of Health, Dr. Adeze Ore, back to office.
Within the brief period back in office, we have seen resumption of previously abandoned health-related projects, approval for the payment of outstanding arrears for health workers, as well as a renewed health outlook. We applaud His Excellency's decision to return the Honorable Commissioner for Health and to personally ensure the payment of salaries of newly employed staff of the River State Hospital Management Board, who have been owed salaries for more than 9 months. His Excellency has by this gesture clearly shown his commitment to restore the health of the state.
On the international scene, U.S. envoy met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today, Monday, aiming to get the Gaza ceasefire plan back on track after an explosion of violence over the weekend that threatened to derail the week-old truce. The U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner were expected to push to shore up the truce and then start talks on the next, more difficult phase of the 20-step plan during their visit. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance was also due to visit Israel on Tuesday, with Netanyahu saying the pair will discuss regional challenges and opportunities. And that's the news, but before we go, another look at the headlines. In the news this evening, you heard court activities were paralyzed as hearing in the police suit against Free Nnamdi Kanu now protesters stalled. Activist Lenu says issues of police brutality still persist 5 years after NSARS. INC has urged Governor Fubara to run an inclusive government. NMA has called for an urgent review of doctor salaries in River State. On the foreign scene, U.S. has stepped up diplomacy after Gaza truce shaking. The news was edited by Martha Okere. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Sam Chinedu. Thanks for listening.